What's up guys, Fan here. Welcome back to another ultimate review. This is the review of the Kawasaki Z900. Alright guys, so before we begin review, as usual, we noticed that 58.8% of our regular viewers are not subscribed to the channel. As you guys know, we've worked really hard on these videos, day and night of planning, scripting, shooting and editing. So all I humbly ask you guys to support us is by subscribing to the channel. Why? Because this actually trigger the YouTube algorithm to push out the channel and these videos to a wider audience. Okay, once again, we are back in the city of Madini, my favorite place to test a bike, and of course my playground. And here I have with me kawan kasi. Literally, my kawan actually kasi this bike to do a review on it. Thank you to my friend who is the owner of this bike. I'm not sure I should mention his name or not, but we'll keep it anonymous. We have the Z900 and oh my gosh. And I can tell you one thing, I've never really been interested in street fighters or naked bikes for that matter, but upon riding the Z900, it really got my attention. Everything on this bike, the performance, the handling seems to be on point, but there's still a few things in the review that I like to address lah. Okay, so sitting on this bike right now, not really too keen on the semi-aggressive riding position. I prefer the upright riding position of a touring bike, but it is what it is. Okay, the bike's weight of 212 kg is kind of heavy, and you do feel the weight when you're standing stationary like this, but when you're riding it, when you're negotiating the corners or bends, you don't feel the weight being thrown around that much. Handling is tip top on it, and I would think that because of the weight, it contributes to this awesome handling and center of gravity. Okay, so what are we waiting for? Start the bike. TFT gauge cluster lights up. Starter. The sound is really nice, yeah. That inline 4 sound that we've come to love, and I've slowly come to love as well. Okay, the Z900. Oh my gosh, I have to say, riding this bike, I am very impressed by it upon hopping on it for the first time. City streets, start situations, slow riding, negotiating this bike in a city setting, it works really well though. And when you're on the highway and you want to get aggressive with it, at a twist of a throttle, the bike can fly. Like literally, I've ridden a lot of bikes on this channel. I've reviewed a lot of bikes, and I think nothing comes close to the Z900 in terms of being an all-rounder, where its performance, its handling is really awesome and complements each other. Other than, you know, the riding posture, which I'm not too keen. No, it is a naked bike, so the windshield is kind of short and stubby. I can feel the full force of the wind in my body and my face right now. Oh, everybody beats red lights around here. But the suspension is also awesome. But you have to remember that this is the SE model, so it comes with orange monoshock, which I have to say is awesome. I barely feel the road imperfections and the road markings right now. Being a street fighter, being a naked bike, it's supposed to be easy when you're riding it in a city setting, in slow situations, and the Z900 really takes the cake. I can feel the heat in my legs right now, but it's not really that hot to the point that, you know, it's bothering me and all that. So it's still kind of manageable, but it only concentrates on my inner shins. And the vibrations on this bike, because it's an inline 4, you barely feel the vibrations. It feels buttery smooth, and you can get aggressive with it at a twist of a throttle. Whoa! But at the same time, it's not too overpowering to the point whereby you're consistently on edge. You know, like the Ducati 848 that I tested earlier. That, my god, I'm really on edge when I'm riding on that bike. But this one, oh my god, you can ride slow with it if you want to. You can have that nice chill ride when you want to, but at the same time, when you want to get aggressive with it, You just play the throttle a bit. Oh man. Let's make a left right here. The traffic lights here don't seem to work, so you gotta look out for traffic. Oh Madini, I love you, but at the same time I just wish you improve your infrastructure. You get this best of both worlds kind of thing, whereby you want to get aggressive, you want to chill, you want to relax. Fine, the bike is okay with it. But at the same time, when you want to get aggressive with it, the bike doesn't hinder you from letting you push it, you know. It just has this personality whereby whatever you want to do, we do. And that is what the machine is all about, you know. You feel 100% in control of the machine. You trust that the machine won't be too overpowering or be too underpowering in certain instances.
Replacing the Z800 for 2017, the Kawasaki Z900 is marketed as a budget-friendly super naked bike without compromising on performance and quality. Equipped with the latest riding technology that Kawasaki has to offer, the Z900 is the ideal machine for riders wanting to add thrill into their everyday riding experience. Engine is a 948cc, liquid-cooled, inline 4-cylinder, 4-stroke, DOHC 16-valve with fuel injection and a 6-speed manual transmission.
Okay guys, so as usual, gonna start off with the riding posture. Okay, so sitting on this bike right now, at the right height of 82cm, I'm 165, and for me, I'm tiptoeing slightly. Very comfortable for me, I feel. No issues. I love this heavily scooped seat, which is to accommodate vertically challenged riders like myself. If you ask me, the riding posture wise is slightly aggressive riding position. I'm leaning forward quite a bit. The wide handlebars are causing my arms to be stretched out quite a bit. Overall, very comfortable for me, but I'm not too keen on my hands, you know, being stretched out like this. I wish the handlebar is smaller. I wish it was slightly taller, but that would mean an adventure riding position, right? And if you want to get quite aggressive with it, which is what I did, it's actually very easy to lean on the tank like this. I find it much more comfortable to ride like this as opposed to this. And of course, when you're like this, right, the wind deflects pretty well. So it gives that aerodynamic advantage when you want to ride fast lah. I find it very comfortable actually, yeah. Okay, so up next we come to the general design of the Z900, and overall Kawasaki is always stuck to this Sugumi inspired outlook for all of the Z series of Street Fighters. And in Kawasaki's words, Sugumi means intense aura or energy given off by a person or object of greatness and felt by the viewer. And I have to say, it does leave quite an impression on you when you first look at it. From its shrouds, fuel tanks, cowlings, the compact and angular aggressive styling really contributes to the Z900's muscular and sharp image. Looks like a Japanese monster on two wheels. As with a Street Fighter, the engine is always the highlight of the machine itself. This 948 inline 4-cylinder of a beast really stands out. And also for the SE model, which is what this bike is, we got inverted telescopic forks finished in gold, and also Olin's rear shocks as well. And also true to Japanese quality, everything on this bike feels premium. You can see and feel the quality of the bike. Another thing I like to highlight is the bodywork sculpting on this bike is really to the next level, especially on the tank over here. As you can see, I think you don't get it with any other bikes except for the Kawasaki Z series. Okay, so now we've come to the handlebar controls, and the gauge cluster. Okay, so as I've ridden the Kawasaki ZX4RR, it's very similar. So typical Kawasaki parts bin, we've got a long and kind of wide handlebar. For me, I don't really find the handlebar too comfortable. I wish it was a bit higher, I wish it was a bit shorter. But I think for taller riders or riders with long arms, no issues lah. Not only that, we also got adjustable clutch and brake levers included stock in the machine. For the handlebar controls to the left over here, we got the high beam, low beam, the many buttons up and down and select. Okay, we'll come to that shortly. Signal indicators, horn hazard, kill switch on the right, and also starter. Okay, so TFT gauge cluster, so 4.3 inch TFT display. I think if you have ridden other Kawasaki bikes, or if you have seen the other Kawasaki bikes, this 4.3 inch TFT gauge cluster is very familiar. Kawasaki parts bin, even the interface is pretty much the same as all of the other Kawasaki bikes. Okay, so to turn on, put the key in the ignition, push down a bit, there you go. Just a brief rundown. We got the gear indicator on the top left, the riding mode next to it, the tachometer, fuel indicator, speedometer, odometer, temperature, time, and below it is the voltmeter. So you can actually toggle the odometer and the voltmeter. Okay, so when you press up, it toggles between the odometer, trip A, trip B, and back to the odometer. And you press down, it toggles the voltmeter to the average fuel consumption, to the range, average speed, total time, and back to the voltmeter. So other than using the up and down menu button, you can also use the left or right buttons on the gauge cluster itself. So to go into the menu, you press these two buttons. It's a long press, by the way, and it will go into the menu. So you can see all the vehicle settings in it. We got to select, you press the right button, which I'm not going to dwell into. To go back, long press again, and basically that's it. Very simple, very straightforward. Oh, and before I forget, to adjust the riding modes, okay, you long press the up and down menu button lah, to adjust accordingly. So you can adjust it between road, rain, rider, and sport. Then we got the other warning lights also, high beam, low beam, KRTC, ABS. I think overall for the handlebar controls and the gauge cluster, very simple, very straightforward. Nothing too complicated, not much adjustments to be made. It's a fairly basic kind of bike, which is what the Z900 is supposed to be lah. Okay guys, so up next we come to the riding tech of the Kawasaki Z900, and with Kawasaki's goal of having the Z900 being this straightforward and back to basics kind of bike, where it's nothing too complicated, nothing too fancy, right? But the Z900 does include a fair amount of riding tech for a bike in its current era. Okay, so just to list a few, we got suspension, okay, fully adjustable inverted 41mm forks in the front, finished in gold. In the rear, we got a fully adjustable Öhlins S46 monoshock with remote preload adjuster. And once again, this is only for the SE model. The other model, the standard model, doesn't come with this Öhlins suspension and the inverter Vox finish in gold. And additionally, the placement of the rear shock is in this, what Kawasaki calls horizontal backlink. So in Kawasaki's words, the shocks are placed almost horizontal, close to the machine's center of gravity, contributing to the mass centralization. Thus, in Kawasaki's engineering and probably R&D research, it probably improves the center of gravity and handling lah. For me, I really love the handling on this, and the configuration of the rear shocks could have contributed to that lah, I feel. 4.3 inch full color TFT gauge cluster, Bluetooth connectivity through the Radiology app, assist and slipper clutch, ABS pad with dual Brembo brake calipers with braided hoses at the front. Once again, this is only for the SE series, but strangely for the rear brake caliper, it's still a Nissin branded brake caliper. I don't know why Kawasaki did this. I wish they also gotten Brembo for the rear, but it is what it is. Traction control, or Kawasaki traction control in Kawasaki's terms. Power modes, road, rain, sports, and rider. So yeah, basically that's it lah. The only downside I feel is that it doesn't come with any charging ports on the handlebars or the handlebar control. I mean, for 2023 era kind of bike, not having a USB seems lacking lah, especially for a bike like this. So on check for the Kawasaki Z900. I have to say the horn sound is kind of mellow, but I think you can alert the cars around you lah. So up next we come to the colors. Okay, so for the SE edition, it comes with, this is according to the website, so I'm just reading it out. Metallic spark black, metallic graphene steel grey, candy lime green. So in between that there's slashes. There's no straightforward name for it lah. It's like the different paint colors, they just put it on and slap it on there, you know. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about price. Okay, so according to the official dealer Mamoto, which carries the Kawasaki brand, it's 25,900 without COE, of course. And for our Malaysian friends, the machine price is listed as 43,900 without road tax and insurance. The riding posture wise, after riding it for quite a while, my back tends to ache quite a bit. And I'm not young anymore, but if you want to get aggressive with it, you can actually lean on the bike like this pretty easily. And surprisingly, it's actually very comfortable and it doesn't hurt my back at all. And I feel as if I'm much more comfortable leaning on the tank like this as opposed to riding like this, you know. Okay, so negotiating this bend right here, it just takes in the corner really well. You can feel the grip on the tires right now. The low center of gravity of this is really awesome. Tip-top, really tip-top handling. Complements the performance as well. We got Kawasaki traction control, ABS. So the riding technology, the riding aids, in terms of safety, is gonna help you out lah. Don't think it has cornering assist, or because Kawasaki intended the Z900 to be this kind of basic, straightforward kind of bike. But it does come with riding modes though. We're currently in road mode. Let's switch it up. So in rain mode right now, it's a bit more mellow than in road mode, and I can feel the acceleration not picking up quite a bit. This is what rain mode is. Now we're in sports mode, and whoa, slight twist of a throttle and you can feel the bike just want to go. Man, woo, man. The bike gets more aggressive in sports mode. It's just that slight aggression compared to road mode. Change gears very easily. We got simple clutch. Don't think it comes with kick shifter though. I think in terms of, if you're looking for this back to basics kind of bike, but at the same time you want something easy, you want somewhat of an all-rounder, I think the Z900 would be awesome. But given that it's a naked bike, it's a street fighter or hyper naked as what Kawasaki calls it, versatility wise is kind of lacking lah. But I would think that, you know, riders who are riding such a bike, they wouldn't care for all this lah. I think, you know what, the Kawasaki just takes the cake. Because there's no windshield, it's a stubby windshield, right? You can feel the full force of the wind on your body, your face right now. Not too keen on the wide handlebars also. My arms are stretched out. Changes gears very easily, and I can also go on to neutral very easily on this bike. The ride is so smooth, it's so comfortable, whereby, you know, you don't even know that you're riding fast. Like suddenly you look at this video, 80 already, 180. So you can get carried away when you're riding it, but it does go very fast easily. Yeah, I'm surprised on how fast it can actually go. Man, no. Awesome pickup, awesome stop speed. Having the ride of my life, oh man, yeah baby, yeah. Even at high speeds, it maintains speed very well. And once again, you are in total control of the bike. Unlike the 848, where the bike just wants to go faster and faster. It's up to you, bro. I will keep into this speed, and only at the twist of a throttle, the bike will respond accordingly. The responsiveness is really awesome. Yeah, we're not gonna get too aggressive with it, but I feel really confident wanting to tame and get aggressive on the Z900. Oh man, I have really high praises about this bike, and I may just look to a Kawasaki, you know, for my next bike or something. Okay guys, so I've had like 5 days with the Kawasaki Z900, and honestly speaking, you cannot go wrong with the handling and performance. I feel that for our streets here in Singapore and Malaysia, where it's mostly city riding and for the weekend highway bursts, the Z900 really takes the cake. It's not too overpowering, but yet it doesn't restrict itself when you want to push it to its limits. Its responsiveness in both speed and cornering is really something that I truly appreciate. I feel as if I'm 100% in control of the bike. I don't feel like I'm on edge, nor is it too underwhelming. It's a perfect balance of, it's basically a perfect balance of performance and handling, I feel. Speaking of handling is probably the best on the Z900. Very light, nimble, agile, turns, leans and corners perfectly. There's basically no learning curve once you hop on it. It's pretty easy to adapt. I'm not too keen, however, on the riding posture. It's kind of aggressive for me, even though it's not that aggressive. I'm pretty used to upright riding position, but at the same time, I do find myself sitting comfortably on long rides and long distance travel. And of course, being a street fighter, hyper naked, it's not really that versatile. No built-in USB charger is really a downside for a 2023 era motorcycle. Kind of a letdown, if you ask me. And finally, it comes to design. So they always say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But for me, I personally feel that it's too aggressive and radical for my taste. But overall, I still consider it a nice looking bike. So once again, huge thanks to the owner of this bike, who is actually my friend, for loaning me this bike for the review. And I think this is our third or fourth Kawasaki review. And that's it for the vlog, and we'll see you guys in the next one.